Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We've got game 2 of 3 coming at you here on Beyond the Summit for Starladder Season 8, Day 26 round-robin coverage. I am Zyori, your solo caster for the day, and here we've got Fnatic versus Power Rangers. Now, of course, Fnatic are, well, maybe feeling a little bit down in the dumps after that last unfortunate defeat against Sigma International. So convincing, so concise, so elegant in the execution of Sigma. Oh, 16-minute victory. Very, very, very well done. Now, the question on our minds is, can Fnatic do it against Power Rangers? And they absolutely need this one, folks. Right now, Fnatic's sitting 10-4. They are currently in 4th for that round-robin position. A lot of teams with 4 losses, but if you move into that 5-loss territory, that's a first-class ticket to not where you want to be. Yeah, it's not looking good. So Fnatic obviously need this one, and Power Rangers, a team that we've talked about a bit as very inconsistent. They're a team that can be on in some cases, and other times just not really click, not have that team synergy, just walking around in disarray. And we'll see if this is a match when they're spot on or if they're not quite on so hard. Some more bans from that last game. Power Rangers will take out the Enchantress and the Wisp. And that does limit what Fnatic can do a little bit, though they are going to grab Bristleback and Crystal Maiden with their first picks. Sort of similar to that last game. They did first pick Bristleback, though here they were able to grab their Crystal Maiden, who was actually banned out in the last match. Also interesting to see Fnatic banning out the Slark, a hero that they did run in our first game today. And of course, not really to great avail. Didn't work out so well for him. Trixie and that long lane Slark. Oh boy. Oh boy. Fnatic will ban out the OD here as well as sort of an interesting choice. Invoker will be taken out by Power Rangers, so a little bit curious to see who Fnatic will run in that mid lane. They have been doing a lot of OD and Invoker lately. And it looks like they'll answer that question for me. Dragon Knight, presumably going to be in the mid lane to go with that Crystal Maiden and Bristleback, so they are not going to fall into that same trap that they did in the last match. They will draft a slightly more well-rounded roster here with a little bit more control. They've got plenty of slow between that Viscous Nasal Goo and the Frost Nova from the Crystal Maiden. Then they've got some Dragon Tail, a little bit of Frostbite, crowd control action. So I like the way this draft is starting off a little bit better here for Fnatic. We'll see what Power Rangers want to do.
10 seconds remaining.
Sorry, had to tab out for a second there. See what Power Rangers want to do again with the first pick Alchemist. Always a good choice, as it always comes back to. That versatility is something that you can't really go wrong with. The second pick Clockwork as well. A great offlaner. And he fares pretty decently against that Bristleback, at least in the early levels. Fnatic do like to put that Bristleback in the safe lane. Actually, last match we saw Era on the Bristleback, so it was a one-position Bristleback instead of that off-lane Bristleback, which we've been seeing much more commonly. So we'll see how Fnatic want to lane it, but it could be a Bristleback versus Clockwork matchup, a hero that does work pretty well. We see Fnatic have banned out the Timbersaw, another hero that makes a lot of sense to ban out if you're interested in first picking yourself a Bristleback. And here we go. Gonna grab the Luna. This is a much more Fnatic-looking roster, I think. Safe to say Era will be the one playing on that Luna. And the Bristleback will be Trixie's hero. And I really think that makes a lot more sense compared to what they tried to do in the last match. Still probably gonna be Hani on that Dragon Knight in the mid. And just gonna need that No-Tail hero. Visage, still in the pool. A little bit surprised to see him get this far through. Power Rangers may want to scoop him up here, and if they don't last ban the Visage, I'd be very surprised. I think that would be a great last pick for Fnatic. A hero that they run pretty frequently, and of course having a micro-intensive hero in the hands of No-Tail usually goes pretty well. Oh boy. So we'll see. Now Power Rangers, they still have a lot of open-endedness to this draft. What do they want to pick up here? Weaver might not be a bad choice in this game if that's what they want to go for. Weaver does seem to do pretty well against Fnatic. Like I mentioned, a bit more lockdown here in this draft, but still could be a pretty good Weaver game. He always works well against that Bristleback, and especially if Power Rangers are considering leaving Visage in the pool. Weaver, even better. We saw that Bristleback Visage lane couldn't do anything against the Abaddon Weaver. Couldn't do anything at all. So kind of curious where Power Rangers want to go with this draft. Still pretty open-ended because of that Alchemist. Hard to say if they want to put him mid, if they want to put him in that one position. If memory serves, I think Power Rangers are a team that kind of opt for Alchemist in that off lane. Why did I say off lane? In the support role. Why did I say off lane? I guess sometimes words just come out of my mouth. And then I think that's not what I meant to say. Off lane is not equivalent to support. They're two very different roles. They will grab the Mirana here, though.
Fnatic's turn to ban.
It could be a mid-Alchemist here, and they could go for that Bane final pick. That is another support in the pool that, of course, pairs well with what Power Rangers are setting up here. They could do that fancy footwork with the Rubik in the jungle. We've seen Crit from Mal's do it quite a bit. Moving around, stacking, pulling those creeps from the mid lane. That is one thing Rubik does very well with that telekinesis. So you could have that kind of 1-1-2 with Rubik in the jungle and then let him roam about the map. That could be a good option here for Power Rangers if that's the route they want to go for. But they could just also set up for a killer tri-lane. Throw Alchemist in the off, or Jesus, throw Clockwork in the off lane. I'm really obsessed with Alchemist in the off lane here. I don't know where that's coming from. Alchemist, Rubik, Mirana. That's a pretty scary tri-lane there. Plenty of crowd control between the concoction and the telekinesis. You've got really easy arrows for that Mirana, and then they could just grab a nice staple mid hero. A nice Storm Spirit could go well for Power Rangers, a hero they certainly like to run a fair bit. Does do pretty well against that Dragon Knight as well. A nice aggressive mid to give him some solid mobility here. Fnatic will ban out the Queen of Pain. Another hero that Power Rangers do run on occasion. And interesting, Power Rangers will ban out the Chen. I have to imagine this is going to be a Visage last pick for Fnatic. I will be shocked and saddened if this is not a Visage last pick here. But time will tell. They do have a couple of options. He would just work so well. The crowd control you get from the familiar stun, the slow you get from Visage, all the damage he can put out, just a great aggressive support. I think would work wonders for this roster. And of course, with that support, a non-jungler, having Crystal Maiden and Visage, CM can jungle but still move about, can open up a lot of room for that Luna. Luna, one of those hard carries that really does need a little bit of room in the early stage. And with two aggressive supports, he'll be able to do it. And yep, that will be the Visage final pick. Pretty predictable choice there for Fnatic. No big surprise. And Power Rangers. Again, like I said, they have a couple of options here. They could grab the Bane if they want to do something more like a 2-1-2 with Rubik in the jungle. And they could put that Alchemist mid. Or they could just grab a staple mid hero and do a pretty standard-looking tri-lane with that Mirana. Really depends on how Power Rangers want to play this and how they think Fnatic are going to set up their lanes. I think that tri-lane may be overkill to deal with the Bristleback. Though if they set up that killer tri-lane against the Visage, Crystal Maiden, Luna, that could be pretty interesting. It would be a pretty even tri-lane, having that ranged carry in the Mirana. Of course, Luna ranged, but a very low range relative to the others. Could be pretty good for Power Rangers. Certainly a lot of devastation they could put out that way. A lot of burst with that Fade Bolt as well. But we'll find out here in just a couple of seconds as that reserve time does tick down for the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Very interesting. They will go Magnus. So they are going to take a mid-hero to try and go toe-to-toe with that Dragon Knight. Not going to go the Storm Spirit that I was thinking, but it looks like they will be grabbing a tri-lane. ZXC going to be on the Magnus solo mid, no doubt about that. He will be going up against Hani on that Dragon Knight. Magnus, a great hero. Although, I believe, if memory serves, Power Rangers did try Magnus the other day when we were casting. It didn't work out too well for him. But a hero that they do like to run. Good bit of teamfight synergy there for Power Rangers. A lot of initiation between that Clockwork as well as the Magnus. That hook shot, especially once Magnus grabs a blink. Maybe Alchemist will grab a blink here for a bit of initiation. They've got the arrow. Rubik has been known to grab a blink on some occasions. So a great bit of initiation and then counter-initiation here for PR. But I think I like Fnatic's roster just a little bit better. It's a little bit more well-rounded in my opinion. And Luna, of course, the harder carry here than the Mirana. But that said, PR will have the support Alchemist, and as we've seen, that is a luxury in the late game, as that Alchemist can start to transition into a little bit more of a carry, especially if he gets a little bit of room in the jungle. So that will help with that carry edge if this ends up being a very long, late game sort of match, but on the flip side, Fnatic do have Dragon Knight, who also serves as a pretty good semi-carry as well. And depending on what build he goes for, if he wants to get a crit stick, wants to start hitting hard, hitting fast in that Elder Dragon form, I think Fnatic will have the carry edge here. And this is just a lot different from last game. Fnatic have much stronger lanes, much more powerful supports than what they picked in the last match. And ironically enough, I think this one going to be a little bit more even than what we saw in the last game. Even though, you know, Fnatic versus Power Rangers, I think safe to say Fnatic are heavily favored here. Certainly the fan favorites, if all else. Trixie and whoever this is, /man, /man. Uh-oh, actually going to be under a little bit of pressure. Again, Trixie will level up that Viscous Nasal Goo. Not sure if it's going to be worth it. He will take a concoction. Thought Moon may want to skill up that Sacred Arrow and go for a kill, but they don't have a lot of vision on the rest of Fnatic, so of course the support could be inbound. Could be a trap card, and they're not going to activate it here. Going to play it safe. But again, we talked about this in the last game. Trixie going that first point in the Viscous Nasal Goo, not something you see too often with the Bristlebacks, usually just for that level 1 killing. Might have been a bit of a hasty leveling there from Trixie. I think that early point in Quill Spray does help out a bit more. But not too bad. 1 skill point. Won't be the make it or break it for this long lane Bristleback, I think safe to say. So let's introduce our rosters here. It looks like we know how the lanes are going to be set up. On our Radiant side, we do have the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And in the standings right now, I don't think we mentioned where they are. Let's take a gander very quickly. They are 10-6, so looking very grim that they will make it into the top 10. Why did I say top 10? Top 4. Cheese and crackers. The top 4. But still a big game nonetheless. Moon going to be here in the bottom lane on the Mirana. In that 1 position. Going to be supported by whoever this is on the Alchemist. The Slash Mark. In the mid, it will be ZXC playing on the Magnus. And then up top, we'll have J4 supporting on the Rubik. And he will be supporting Cheshire Cat, who will be on the Clockwork. Now on the Dire side, we do have Fnatic. In the long lane, it will be Trixie playing on the Bristleback. In the mid, it is going to be Hani playing as the Dragon Knight. Going to have Crystal Maiden in the jungle for now, being played by Fly. No Tail going to be on the Visage up top. And of course, he will be supporting Era, that hard farming Luna. And as I mentioned before, I like this a lot better. Big Luna much more suited to the skill set of Era, and Bristleback much more suited to the skill set of Trixie in the off lane, then vice versa, as we saw Trixie playing an off lane Slark just did not work out. Hani could be in a little bit of trouble here. We see J4 and Cheshire smoked up. Cogs Battery Assault, Telekinesis, they are going to go in. Hani will get telekinesed into the Cogs. Shockwave from ZXC, there's the skewer back. Hani going to be in a little bit of trouble here, but support from the jungle. J4 will get frostbitten. I think Hani going to be stuck, though. J4 still on the high ground. Nowhere for him to go. And PR will secure that first blood. Magnus going to grab it. Great news for Power Rangers here. A great rotation as well. Not too often you see that Clockwork roaming that early on, but in tandem with the Rubik, a good bit of aggression. The telekinesis straight into the Cogs made it so easy for him. A great gank. Dragon Knight, not usually the easiest hero to gank, as he is pretty tanky early on. Does have that first point in Dragon Blood. Nice little bit of armor, but well done. Power Rangers going to be off to a good start here. Now in the jungle. Uh-oh, Alchemist going to be in some trouble. Trixie did pick up a haste rune. He is going to charge the concoction. Trixie trying to fog it. Not going to be able to, as that creep did give vision. And he will just move back and continue to thwart the efforts of the Alchemist, and will steal this little bit of farm and experience. Trixie now going to be level 3 in the long lane, doing pretty well for himself. Cheshire Cat not quite at that level 3 mark. A very valuable roam to the mid lane, but still has not boded well for the experience of the Clockwork. Of course, staying in lane is a bit better. So far, the carry's off to an even start, though. Moon on the Mirana, sitting 14-8, and Luna is 14-6 at the moment, so very comparable, as they both are in pretty much free farm heaven here. The offlaner's not doing much to deny farm coming their way. And this mid, well, still pretty even. Hani actually does have a last hit advantage, 13-2 against the 11-3 Magnus. Pretty close to a wash, but a bit surprising, given that Hani was the victim of that first blood. Speaks to how well he's been doing with this farm. ZXC did go for early boots here. He is crowing that bottle, going to have it delivered back for him here. And Hani doing the same, now going to have his boots delivered as he sends that bottle back, so still a pretty even spread. Nothing too crazy happening quite yet. Have to imagine this kind of free farm environment, though, will favor Fnatic a little bit more, though PR will have an interesting timing window. Luna definitely a harder carry than the Mirana, but Mirana does peak a little bit more in that mid-game, right around that level 10 mark. I think Mirana does have a bit of an edge. Maybe even a little bit before that. The Sacred Arrow and Starstorm just does a lot of damage, a little bit more mobility while that Luna is going to be continue farming away. Cheshire Cat almost getting taken out up here in the top lane, but will survive to tell the tale. Does get the salve off, and we'll just be able to return back to the lane. Fnatic already starting to pressure this top tier 1 tower. And they will dive on Cheshire Cat. He'll get clipped by the Frost Nova. One more auto attack ought to do it. Visage going to secure the kill. Poorly played by Cheshire Cat right there. Just way too far forward. That was an easy dive for Fnatic. And now this tower going to be under heavy pressure. Alchemist coming in. He is charging up that concoction. Will get it off onto Fly. Tower actually going to take some shots. Fly going to be in big trouble. And of course he is going to go down. Does get a frostbite off before he falls, but not going to be enough to save him. Cheshire Cat will port up. Gets a little bit of that experience. So a nice rotation from the Alchemist. At least makes it a 1-for-1 up top as Fnatic. It was an easy dive, but then they kind of hung around. I guess they didn't think about that Alchemist coming inbound. So Luna going to go ahead and grab those power treads first. Looks like Era not going to be interested in grabbing a super fast Midas. Could still transition into a slightly later hand of Midas, but looking for those power treads probably means that Fnatic are going to be looking for a mid-game timing window as well. And going to have a little bit more sustain, not going to be sitting back and farming. Kind of curious to see if Mirana going to be going hand to Midas, but doesn't look like it either. Moon does have that first blade of attack, going to go ahead and grab the second one right here, so that will be phase boots first. Carry's going for the upgraded boots, not going to go for that fast Midas. Like I said, it's still a possibility, but look at that. That plus 24 damage is going to start laying into Trixie. Mid lane, still a pretty even exchange. Hani continuing to get the better of the Magnus. Oh, pardon me, I was looking at the bristleback. Very even in the mid lane. 23 apiece. Denies only 2 apart. Very comparable. Flying No-Tail, looking up like they want to line up a gank onto the Magnus. He is level 6, as is the Dragon Knight. Hani actually invisible right now. No sentries down. Magnus already does have the Arcane Boot, so he can start to be a little bit more liberal with that mana. They'll throw down a sentry of their own here. Gonna scout it out. Illusion rune up top. Fly will camp it out. Hani gonna break the invis. He's just gonna grab it. That'll fill up the bottle. Now it looks like they may want to engage on the Magnus. Looking for an opening. He'll make it to the high ground. He'll be just fine. Pretty slow early game here, and pretty even actually. Magnus still ahead of Hani on the net worth because of that first blood. Though we are going to see initiation up top. Luna going to get connected upon with some cogs, and there will be a port up. Going to make it a 1-for-1. I did catch the tail end of it. My apologies. They trade the Clockwork for the Luna. A favorable exchange for Power Rangers right now, but Fnatic aren't done yet. Elder Dragon form popped. Illusions come, and the Alchemist will just burn the concoction. Exactly what Fnatic were hoping for, but they won't be able to grab a kill. Just going to chip away at this top tier 1. Let's take a gander at the graph here. Power Rangers with a nice little gold lead start for themselves. Again, a very valuable kill on that Luna. Will slow down the progression of Era just a little bit, as Mirana is still just farming away. But in this 1v1 lane, at least Trixie's starting to pick up a little bit of farm. His net worth not as bad as it could be as an offlaner. 22-2, sitting level 6. Reasonably close to that Vanguard, more than halfway there. Just have that Ring of Health, and just saving up for that Vitality booster. So Trixie having a much better game than last time. Clockwork, only level 5, no hookshot available. If they get a little bit of lane control, they may be able to set up a kill. We see a lane ward down here for the Radiant. So they do want to be a bit aggressive, but unfortunately they just don't have that lane positioning to make this an easy gank. And Clockwork actually spending a lot of time here. He will be able to soak up some experience. But Trixie's kind of wise to it. He's going to position himself back very far, recognizing that the Clockwork is missing. It is nighttime, so Cheshire Cat has the luxury of fog there. Meanwhile, up top, J4 going to be in some trouble. He gets clipped by that Crystal Nova. Uh-oh, some return damage coming out onto Fly. The Rubik falls. Fly probably going to go down as well. Skewer forward from the ZXC. And he will go down. That's going to be a support for support exchange. Rubik for Crystal Maiden. Just a 1-for-1 up top. Nice rotation from the Magnus. Will secure himself a kill. But we'll give a little bit more room to Hani. And here we go. Trixie will poke maybe a bit too far forward. Looking to engage on the Mirana. Will get off a fair bit of damage. Clockwork going to trap him in the cogs. No support inbound. There's the battery assault. Does make for an easy Sacred Arrow. And that's the end of Trixie. So he was playing it safe, but then just ventured a bit too far forward, perhaps thinking that the Clockwork wouldn't sit around for that long. But Cheshire Cat one-upped him. He was very patient, and in that situation, the patience paid off. Bit of a risky play, though. That will be level 6 for Clockwork now. Moon going to hit level 8. And he is going to grab that Wraith Band, so Ring of Aquila going to be coming his way. And Clockwork just going to be working towards some power treads, it looks like. Gonna have a quick pause here, but we'll resume pretty quickly. Glancing at item progression, still nothing too crazy. And Power Rangers getting the better of Fnatic here in the early game. Not by too much, but still a sizable lead. Now Hani going to be in some trouble. RP, hook shot, as well as telekinesis going to be used. Cogs come out. He will get skewered back into the tower. Going to take some tower shots. Will be able to finish off the Alchemist. Oh, that shockwave going to be just short. Wow, Hani going to make the great escape. That haste rune really coming in handy. 40 hit points to spare. That skewer was a misplay. They should have kept him in the cogs. ZXC really slapping himself for that one. He was stuck in cogs. The haste rune was useless, but then he got skewered out. And, of course, put him in a better position to finish off that Alchemist. That was just a free kill right there, J4. Or, pardon me, Slash Man. Wrong place at the wrong time. And I'm going to have to look this up. I'm actually a little bit bothered by who is this guy. I got to look at the PR roster. Oh, that's FNG. Backslash Man. Even though it is, I know it is a forward slash, but still, backslash flows off the tongue a bit more. Uh-oh, Trixie going to be in some trouble. Telekinesis. Concoction to follow it up on top of the acid spray. Yeah, there's no surviving that one. That's that killer tri-lane I was talking about. Huge damage coming out.
Radiant structures are
4 points in the bristleback. And look at the Trixie build here. So defensive. He did have his back turned for some of that, but still no surviving that amount of damage, even with the back turned. Top tier 1 does fall in favor of Fnatic. That kill down bottom did open up a little bit of room, and they did take a tower, so well done by Fnatic. They at least find a positive to sacrifice their bristleback. But really a strange build from Trixie. I understand it in the long lane, but not one we see often. Smoke in the mid, going to be revealed. Concoction will connect on Hani. Acid spray coming out, but Fnatic doing a wraparound here. They will commit on Hani. Going to skewer him back. Hani may be able to get a lucky break again. Moonlight Shadow comes. Double damage now out. ZXC in some trouble. They will try and turn it around. Hani is going to survive as he stands his ground. Another Concoction flies. In comes Moon. A huge Starstorm going to do a lot of damage. Triple kill coming out for the Mirana. Hani not going to survive either. That's going to be a 1 for 4. Oh no. And it could even be worse. Trixie will man up. He's going to grab another kill in the tower. Going to make it a 2 for 5. Ultra kill coming out from Moon. Oh boy. Fnatic not off to a good start once again, guys. This is really looking rough. All of a sudden, 11-6. Just an explosion of momentum from Power Rangers. Sort of an odd fight with double smokes to start it off. Power Rangers came in. They initiated this way, went up Hani on the high ground. Then Fnatic did the wraparound up here and came in and initiated. Hani did survive. He made it back for a while, but of course, it did fall in the end. They were able to focus down the Magnus to stop the RP. Fnatic was doing well when it was a 5v4, but as soon as Moon made it in, that's what I was talking about. Right around that level 9, level 10 mark, that's when Mirana really peaks, while Luna's just like, hey, guys, I got 4 Lucent Beams, let's do this! Not nearly as good as this Mirana with that Starstorm. Oh man, was that massive. Huge Starstorm right there. That's what turned that fight around. Then Moon just cleaned it up. Great fight. For Power Rangers, that is. And actually, Luna didn't even get to use the Lucent Beam, or pardon me, the Eclipse right there. I mean, not much she could have done with it. A lot of creeps around. Didn't have a good chance. Era did fall pretty quickly. Era did actually invest in the Hand of Midas here. Interesting choice to grab the Hand of Midas after Boots. A little bit surprised to see it. We'll see how it works for him. As I mentioned, Luna going to have that edge in the late game if they can get there. But Power Rangers off to a lot of momentum. They're starting to hit this mid-game stride here as we're moving out of the laning phase. And that's where that Midas is going to start to hurt for Fnatic. I talked about that initiation. They're going to have a lot of long-range initiation here. Now a blink on Magnus. Of course, Clockwork does have that hook shot. And Mirana even going to grab a Yasha with a haste rune. So a lot of aggressive potential here for Power Rangers. And I think they're going to be wise to that Hand of Midas. And they will put the pressure on and make Era's life very difficult. See, they will do a 4-man smoke here. They will keep this aggression on, folks. I love this from Power Rangers. They seem to be on point today. Vanguard now complete on the Bristleback. Looks like Hani is working towards a Shadow Blade. Smoke will get revealed. They are at the high ground. Concoction going to get charged up. They're going to scout it out. Rubik going to steal the Breathe Fire. Hani going to be in big trouble. There's the RP. Oh no, Hani and Fly going to fall to start off this fight. Visage going to go down shortly after. The RP comes out. Trixie's still going to be alive. J4 actually going to survive. Compliments of the Moonlight Shadow. Oh no. Still looking rough here for Fnatic.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Not giving Era any room here. They're putting on constant aggression. Yeah, maybe Era can get some farm while they're diving these towers, but another 3-for-0 exchange. Just look at this graph. Power Rangers picking up that momentum. 4,000 experience lead. Holy Toledo. Arrow flies. Not going to connect. Tier 1 in the mid does fall. That levels out the tower count here. Going to be 1-1. And that will help up hop that gold graph upwards a bit here. Magnus probably working on a 4th staff. Does have that 1st staff of Wizardry. And Mirana with about 1,200 in the bank. They'll go back to farming. Mirana 5-0-3 already. That is scary, especially when you compare it to the Luna. 0-2-4, just a huge disparity between those two carries. Fnatic will start stacking up their Ancients, though. That is one piece of recovery that they'll have. I'd love to see Power Rangers throw a ward down here and block this Ancient spawn. Or perhaps snipe it if they can. They do have Alchemist, so that Acid Spray makes it a little bit easier to try and snipe Ancient stacks. Currently a triple stack set up for Fnatic. Actually, is that a quad stack? No, it's a triple. So that will be an opportunity for the Luna to make some recovery, but wow, look at the net worth already. Mirana really starting to pull ahead. Magnus going to be number 2 on the chart. Even Clockwork doing pretty well. Hop and a skip above that counterpart, who is the Bristleback, of course. Hani still not very close to that Shadow Blade, an item that he desperately needs here. I think a smart choice. We'll give him a little bit more aggressive potential to try and make things happen, but it's going to be a long time coming before he's going to be able to farm it up. Cheshire Cat looks like he's working on Drum of Endurance. Looks like they may want to engage on Trixie. Clockwork on the backside. trying to line up a hook shot. Don't know that they want to dive this tower. Starstorm going to fly. And they're not going to get over aggressive. More Ancient stacking here. Right idea from Fnatic. Fly will keep stacking it. Uh-oh. Up top, Alchemist hiding in the trees. Visage with all sorts of birds here. He's got an illusion rune, and then he's got some familiars, and that's just a lot of birds. I think mech is going to be imperative in this game. Neither side working on a mech, though, which is sort of interesting. Based on the early aggression that's already come out, I think Power Rangers would be well advised to grab themselves a mech. Will help in these team fights quite a bit. Could give them a big edge. Interestingly enough, they will take out this stack, but Luna not going to be a part of it. Well, it's up to a 4 stack. Trixie just going to clear it out, so he's going to be the one to take that farm. Not that it's bad to have on Trixie, but just interesting. Arrow? Oh, God. Sacre bleu. Trixie. They saw the rocket. They knew that they were there. Fnatic just not on point today. Oh, boy. Down here in the bottom, though, initiation could come. Crystal Nova going to come out. No follow-up, though, as that bottom tier 1 tower does fall. Total tower count now going to be 2-1 in favor of Power Rangers. 15-6 here as we pass that 15-minute mark. Gold lead, somewhere around 5,000. Experience lead to boot, somewhere about 5,000 as well. Mirana continuing that farm. Keeping tabs on the item progression here. 4 staff coming out for the Clockwork. Going to be on the Magnus reasonably soon as well. Luna working towards a BKB, it looks like. Does have that first Ogre Club, so making a little bit of progress. Close to level 11 as well. That level 2 Eclipse does help in these team fights. That's when Luna does start to get a little bit more scary, at least. Starts to come online. That good rule of thumb, though, is the 30-minute mark. That's when the carries start to take over. Fnatic need to make it there for this Luna to start to shine. But now that Power Rangers are taking their time, they're going to farm up some more core items. Look at this ward coming down. Should block this Ancient spawn from Magnus. I really like this play. We'll see here in just about 10 seconds. Smart play, though. They scattered it out. They knew what Fnatic were trying to do, and they're going to keep this pressure on. I absolutely love this from Power Rangers. Yep, that will block the spawn. Looks like Trixie is working towards a mech. Does have that buckler. That will be good news for Fnatic, though Mirana just going to go straight for a Manta style and actually just about to have it. It's got the Blessed Orb in the bank, just trying to pull up for that recipe, and pretty damn close as she continues to farm away. So I do like this from Power Rangers as well. They took a nice bit of aggression. Now they're going to sit back, farm out the lanes, get a little bit of map control. No tail, going to be on point, though. He will counter this sentry. This one should be out of range. I'm not sure, though. This may actually block the spawn. We'll see here in the next 25 seconds. 2 sentries down here, actually. So Power Rangers just going to farm up those core items, and they'll get a bit aggressive once again. Going to manage those cooldowns. I think Fnatic would be wise to grab themselves some utility items to try and deal with that Moonlight Shadow, and they've done just that. Hani now going to have some dust in the bank, as he has picked up that Shadow Blade. And Fly also does have a couple of sentries. So I do like that Fnatic are now prepared for that Moonlight Shadow. And that last engage, the 3-for-0 in the mid lane. Moonlight Shadow played a driving role there, and Fnatic had no detection to deal with it. Fnatic will smoke up, though. It is going to be a 5-man smoke here. Going to move across the river around side the Roche pit, and will try and do a wraparound in the mid, perhaps looking for PR, though PR doing the same thing. Not going to smoke up, but they do have Moonlight Shadow on, so both sides going to move into the enemy jungle, looking for a bout of aggression, but I don't think they're going to find it. It may just turn into some Tier 1 for Tier 1 tower exchanging, as Fnatic are headed down to that bottom Tier 1 tower, and Power Rangers already pushed up to the Tier 1 here in the top. They will maybe make that rotation. Moon may just be the lone pusher here. Going to pop the Manta style, and the rest of the team will just rotate towards the mid. Following the Moonlight Shadow, they will smoke up and just head down towards the bottom. As Fnatic have revealed themselves, there is a glyph available for Power Rangers here if they want to try and defend this. They're going to burn that glyph. Mirana will finish off the top Tier 1 tower. So it looks like this could be a Tier 1 for tower hold if Power Rangers get there in time. I don't know that they will. Rocket going to scout it out. Clockwork could have a hookshot coming in. The wraparound is inbound. Here we go. A huge RP! Oh no! Fnatic in big trouble! Oh god, guys, this is bad news bears. Fnatic gonna get completely scraped. That's a 5-for-0. Holy shit. That RP from ZXC. I apologize for yelling a little bit, but cheese and motherfucking crackers on that one. How did Fnatic not see it coming? They had a ward right here. Maybe didn't clip too much of them. But oh man. They know there's a Magnus. You gotta spread for the RP. Easiest fight TR are gonna take all game. Gonna translate to a Tier 2 tower kill perhaps. Arrow flies, not gonna connect with much. PRs FNG going to take a bit of damage. That will translate to a tier 2 tower kill. Just absolute decimation right there. Power Rangers starting to run away with this. 20 minutes. Already a 8,000 gold lead. 12,000 experience lead. PR will just back out. Going to be happy with their spoils. I talked about that initiation power, and boy, do they have it. Beautiful setup. Rubik going to start things off now. Well, going to be able to start things off now. He's got a Blink Dagger. We've seen Magnus with that Force Staff. Alchemist now going to go for a Midas. He will start to transition into a bit of a carry. Mirana certainly doesn't have the late game potential compared to that Luna, but a few more fights like that and it's not going to matter. Mirana just going to be an item ahead. I mean, still 3,000 gold ahead of the Luna. A big farm advantage. Luna going to be close-ish to the BKB. Does have 1,800 in the bank. We'll be able to grab that Mithril Hammer, but still a little ways off. What's Mirana going to grab next is my question. 2,000 gold in the bank. Probably going to be looking towards a Desolator would be my best guess. Given that PR need the carry power, I think Mirana wants to hit hard. And Desolator would work very well here. Fnatic going to try something a little bit crazy, as they well should. They will smoke up into the Roche pit. Looks like the Radiant side know it, though. We see pings coming out all over. They know exactly what's going on. They've got a ward down. Didn't reveal too much, but they will scout it out. Acid Spray comes. Fnatic actually taking this out very quick. If they want to contest, they're going to have to do it quick. Hook shot in, perhaps. RP going to be coming up in 2 seconds. Oh, no, this could be bad. There's the RP coming in. Roche, very low. The Eclipse. Oh, no. Oh, no. Moon going to hop in. This could be terrible for Power Rangers. Luna with a great Eclipse. Roshan going to fall to the Dire. Aegis going to go the way of the Luna. They will clean up the Rubik. RP coming out. Era now going to be in trouble. That will burn the Aegis. Going to grab a couple of kills here. A very chaotic exchange. Unfortunate timing for Power Rangers. If they had just a few more seconds to spare, that would have gone a lot differently. Clockwork up here in No Man's Land, though. He's trying to man up. Not going to work for him. That will be the end of his mega kill streak. Going to go the way of Hani. Oh, boy. Still a good hold, though. Power Rangers do contest it. They burn the Aegis right away. So we see that plateau a little bit. Fnatic do finish it off. A very risky play, and I think they had to right there. Not much else they could have done. They did take it out pretty timely.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Was there a buyback burned there? No. Oh, man. If only Magnus could have hopped in just a little bit earlier. A much better spread for that RP. The cooldown just wasn't ready. Catching that instant replay of the epic RP from Mag. Oh, boy. That's one thing I love about that delay server. You get to see everything on the instant replay cam. Maybe not instant, the 2-minute replay cam. Uh-oh. Hani gonna Shadow Blade out as FNG looking to engage. Gonna charge the Concoction. Does have the Chemical Rage on. He'll get Force Stabbed forward. And now Fly gonna get caught. Look how much damage that Chemical Rage does. That will be a kill onto the Crystal Maiden. And down bottom, Mirana was actually able to finish off Visage while all that was happening. So Moon did score himself a free kill. That's going to be a 2-for-0 across the map. Didn't catch that one. But we did see the poor Crystal Maiden get taken out. Now talking about item progression, Oblivion Staff out for ZXC. Probably going to be a refresher. Yep, there it is. Refresher recipe picked up. So Magnus going to be working towards that double RP. Mirana now going to have a Mithril Hammer. Clockwork working towards the BKB. Again, probably going to be a Desolator on that Mirana, but a little bit hard to say. Could be a BKB as well if she feels the need for defensive to try and deal with the crowd controls. From the Dragon Knight, the magic damage from the Luna, BKB would make sense as well. Speaking of BKB, it has been picked up on Era, so that's a step in the right direction. Now going to have the Morbid Mask. But still a long way to go before that carry power really going to kick in. Mech now complete on Trixie. I still think Power Rangers would be well advised to grab a mech. At this point, probably going to be a moot point. But still an item that would have helped them out in these team fights quite a bit. And they will take out this stack from Fnatic. Great map control from Power Rangers. The right idea. Not a huge stack, but they will clear it up. And they will take another bit of farm from Fnatic. Goldgraph still going the way of Power Rangers. And uh-oh, they will Moonlight Shadow forward. Look at these wards down as well. They've got some great vision coming out. They are going to find Fly, and Fly is definitely going to go down. Force Staff forward, straight into the cogs. No way Fly's surviving that one. Free kill on the Crystal Maiden. Power Rangers not giving Fnatic any room to breathe here. Now No-Tail going to be in trouble. Force Staff forward, skewer back. Now No-Tail is destined to fall into the telekinesis as well. Easy peasy. Too easy for PR. They're just running away with this game. Like I said, I love that they're keeping this aggression on. They know they need to hit this mid-game timing, and they are doing crippling damage before that 30-minute mark. Total tower count now is going to be 4-2, of course. No, pardon me, 5-2 in the favor of Power Rangers. They're going to clear out their own Ancients now. Assault Kuros recipe picked up for the Alchemist. He does have the Hyper Stone. We see he did pick up Midas, so they will have this Alchemist really starting to come online. His farm is slowly increasing here, and it's just going to get scarier over time. So that carry edge we've been talking about for Fnatic, not even really going to be that scary, as there is now a Midas carrier on the side of PR, and they have that farming tool, which, of course, is that Greevil's Greed. Hani is forced to go a BKB here. Shadow Blade into BKB. Not a bad build, but still not going to be that hard-hitting build. They've been forced to grab these more defensive items. Hani going to port out. Oh, close call, but is going to make it. Forced to go those defensive items. Fnatic just don't have the damage here. This Bristleback finally has 4 points in the Quill Spray. We saw that interesting build that he went for him, but at this point, not hitting that hard. The damage output for Fnatic just isn't there. Looks like PR will group up about the top tier 2 tower. Going to start chipping away at it. Again, Mirana with that Manta style. Fnatic not going to defend it. They do have a Glyph available, so they could try and make a hold. They will actually burn the Glyph. They need to be a little bit careful here, though. Arrow going to fly. Trixie going to walk right into it. Oh, no. Mirana will get the tower kill. They're not going to follow up on that arrow, but going to make the deny virtually impossible for Fnatic there. Trixie the arrow magnet. Very unfortunate. Again, glancing at this graph now, upwards of 15,000 on both gold and experience, just going the way of Power Rangers. They're continuing to find these pickoffs, and they just have so much map control right now. Let's take a look at the warding situation. They've still got this nice lane ward down. It's actually their only ward at the moment, but as you can see, they're in the dire jungle. They've been taking out the Fnatic stacks, and look at the Fnatic wards. I mean, they've got nothing. They've got one on their plateau here. That's it. Absolutely all they have to their name. Uh-oh, gonna see some initiation here. Hani looking for farm. He's gonna be in trouble here in the enemy's jungle. He will have that Shadow Blade. Might be enough to keep him alive. Is there a gem out on our Radiant side? I don't think they've picked one up yet. No, they haven't. But it doesn't matter too much. Hani will be able to walk away. More item progression for PR. Desolator now out for the Mirana, who's also level 16. And Magnus with a refresher already. Arrow, oh no! Long range stun will connect with Arrow. He's going to be in big trouble. He's going to get dropped like he's hot. Down he goes. Oh boy, Moon just connecting with these arrows. Guys, it's looking like a bitter defeat for Fnatic here. I don't know what they can do at this point. The item progression is just so different. We see a handful of defensive items for Fnatic struggling to get these BKBs, and here we see these huge pickups. Desolator, Refresher, the double RP. I don't know how they're going to deal with it. I don't know what they can do, quite honestly. It's just insanity. This Mirana hits damn hard. Hitting for over 200 a pop. Look at Luna's damage. I mean, it just isn't there. No Glyph available for Fnatic now. They burned it for that tier 2 up top, so now they're tier 3 going to take heavy damage. Era's down. He does not have a buyback. This is going to be a tier 3 tower. There's no way Fnatic can defend it. So easy for PR right here with the Desolator, with Alchemist out front with the Chemical Rage. No reason for him to back up. Now the Manta style comes out. They're going to go for the ranged racks. Given that Luna's going to be up, they don't want to try for the melee. J4 actually taking a lot of damage. RP comes in. Not going to do too much. Now No-Tail going to be in some trouble. The Moonlight Shadow comes out. This could be kind of an awkward fight here for ZX, or pardon me, for Power Rangers. ZXC going to hop in. We'll use that second RP. Refresher on cooldown. Not what Power Rangers are looking for. Fnatic do actually make a pretty solid hold here. Oh no, Power Rangers. Are you going to squander this lead you've set up for yourselves? Any buybacks coming out from Fnatic? No. Going to be a 1 for 3. They do a pretty crippling amount of damage, about half damage to that ranged racks. And of course they do clear out that tier 3. So not the worst exchange. Still going to find at least kind of a break even, but rather unfortunate for Power Rangers. They need to be a little bit more coordinated than that. Magnus does have a double RP, but that doesn't mean you can start throwing it around willy-nilly. That Refresher is a pretty lengthy cooldown, but that's a-okay. Power Rangers is going to be able to sit back. They'll farm up and then go back for it. Now, Rubik did buy a gem following that fight, so he didn't lose it in that last engage. That is good news. If we take a look at the graph here, things going to plateau a little bit. Still a huge deficit. Power Rangers can afford to do that once or twice more before Fnatic really going to have a chance to get too far back into this game. Luna's still not that scary, though will be level 16 for the next fight. And, of course, that level 3 Eclipse does hurt. Roshan coming up here in just about 3 minutes, so that may be what Power Rangers are waiting for. They may want to be the ones to try and secure Roshan coming up next. That will make this a little bit easier. Moon still looking scary with this farm. Another 2.6k in the bank. Looks like they are going to secure the pit. A little bit of RNG factor here. It will be a long Roshan timer. Perhaps Power Rangers didn't knock down that time. They'll be stationed about the pit for quite a while here, waiting for Roche to come up. Like I said, going to be about 2 minutes or so. But now that they've got the gem, they will just start to clear out some wards. They are going to clear out this double stack of Ancients once again, so not going to give Era that luxury of farming out those stacks. They will continue to push out the lanes as well. FNG on this Alchemist does now have the Assault Cuirass complete, so still a lot of item progression coming out. Even though that last fight was not so successful, we still don't see too much for Fnatic. 2 BKBs now, step in the right direction. Very small positive, though, amongst a slew of negatives here. There's that 2-minute Roshan timer. They're just going to camp it out. Refresher coming up in about 20 seconds, so I guess not going to be too shabby. Problem for Fnatic here is they just don't have the map control. Now we see the ward coverage. See a nice lane ward down here. We see Roche Pit on lockdown, and this one just expired, actually. That was sitting right here. So still a good bit of map control for PR. Fnatic just feel cornered on their side of the map. They don't want to venture too far out of the base because they just don't have vision. They will scout out with the familiars, trying to check if Roche is up. Need confirmation on that. Arrow going to fly. Will actually connect with Hani. Wow, Moon really been on point with these arrows. Looks like they are going to go for it. Telekinesis into RP. Concoction going to come out. There's the Eclipse. Skewer back. Oh no, Power Rangers. This isn't the fight that they wanted. They will take out the Dragon Knight. Clockwork going to take a good bit of damage as well. That's going to be a 1-for-1. Now the Bristleback going to fall. Going to be a 2-for-1. Power Rangers will be able to make it happen. There's the second RP as the Refresher comes out. Flying No Tail going to be in big trouble. There's the Skewer back. They burn the Glyph at a very unfavorable time. Some buybacks do come. The Bristleback as well as the Crystal Maiden. Trixie might be able to secure a kill onto J4 as he's cornered in the base. But still, the damage has been done. Power Rangers going to get what they came for. A 2-for-4 exchange. They forced 2 buybacks. No diebacks for Fnatic. But still, Power Rangers going to find the much better of that engage. And now, they'll have that buyback advantage for Roshan, who will be coming up here in less than a minute. This will be the focal point of this match here coming up. Both sides really want Roshan. This could be a game changer, perhaps. Fnatic showing us that they still have some teamfight potential. Also, the Eclipse has been burned. Most of the big cooldowns are not available right now. Mirana will grab that BKB. This is that point where you really need the BKBs to stand toe-to-toe against the Luna. That Eclipse starts to hurt quite bad. And Magnus with an ultimate orb. Kind of curious what he's going to grab next. Mirana's farm still very impressive here. Fnatic will stack their Ancients once again. Maybe PR will be able to snipe it. Roche has now respawned. It's been scattered out by the familiars. Arrow going to fly. Again, will connect on Trixie. Though that one could have been intentional. Looks like he may have been just trying to grab one for the team there. Elder Dragon form going to be used. Fnatic going to be very brave here. They will just move straight into the pit. RP going to be up in 15. Won't be up in time. Unstable Concoction. Actually going to use it on to Fly. Going to be kind of an odd engage here, but uh-oh, Fly and No Tail just going to get obliterated before this fight even really starts. Now Hani going to be the target of choice. This is going to be bad news for Fnatic here. The BKBs are popping. It doesn't matter. Luna doesn't have the Eclipse. It's going to be a 4-for-0. Now Trixie, the lone survivor. This is going to be a clean sweep. 5-for-0 exchange in favor of Power Rangers. And now that will be a free Roche. Fnatic may even tap out here. They may want to wait, but this is just a bad day for Fnatic. They are not on point. Of course, Roshan going to fall. The Aegis will go the way of the Mirana, kind of as we would expect. Gold graph now about 20,000 in favor of PR. We'll glance at the inventories. Aegis going the way of the Mirana. I think I just mentioned that. Sanj out now for the Clockwork. And this will be easy racks. No Glyph available. And this is going to cost Fnatic big. Let's look at buybacks. What do they have? Dragon Knight, no. Bristleback, no. Luna, not going to have it either. It's going to be the 2 supports as the lone defenders here with no Glyph. Mid lane of Rax already down. Top tier 3. Gonna melt like butter to a warm knife. Rax gonna fall shortly after. We see this Alchemist just chopping that wood. Oh no. 2 barracks down. I think we're at that point, folks. Fnatic really in big trouble here. 2 lanes of Rax down. That item progression just non-existent now. We see these inventories looking strikingly similar to as they were 10 minutes ago. Mirana just been on point. There it is, GG from Fnatic. Nothing they can do about it. Well played by both sides, but Power Rangers. Talk about going on point in this match. I mean, just well done, well executed. They came to play. Very convincing win. Fnatic just in disarray. I don't know what happened today, but... oh boy. Very unfortunate for Fnatic. course, they are one of my favorite teams coming from that Han background, but sad to see them in this sort of a state. Well played by Power Rangers, though. A much-needed win. A much-deserved win, I should say. Now, that will take Fnatic 10-5, and that really limits their chances of making this top 4 here in Starladder Season 8 to move on to the LAN Finals. Sigma.int, on the other hand, now going to be 12-4. I think that may be the end of the run for Fnatic. What a match, though. That RP, just absolute insanity. A VOD worth watching for sure if you came in late. You better check it on the rebroadcast. Thank you for joining us here, guys, on Beyond the Summit. I am Zaiori, solo casting today. We've got one more Starladder Season 8, Day 26 coverage. It will be SSD versus the QPad Red Pandas. A fun one to finish off our day of casting here on Beyond the Summit. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you check me out on Twitter at ZaioriTV, and, of course, follow at Beyond the Summit. We'll be back in about 10 minutes with our third and final match of the day.